What if your child saw something horrifying behind you? Would you dare to turn around? It was a normal weekday night. Gwen had put her daughter Lana to bed around 8 p.m. like usual. Lana was 6, so bedtime was always a bit of a struggle, but after reading her favorite story, she finally drifted off. Gwen kissed her goodnight and quietly shut her door, feeling relieved to have a few hours to herself. Around 3 a.m., Gwen was jolted awake by a soft, whispering voice. She blinked, trying to clear her vision in the dark. The digital clock on her nightstand glowed a faint red. 3:23 a.m. "Mommy, I can't sleep." It was Lana's voice, small and trembling. Gwen turned over and saw her daughter standing in the doorway, her little silhouette barely visible against the dim hallway light. "What's wrong, sweetie?" Gwen asked, rubbing her eyes and sitting up. "Did you have a bad dream?" Lana shook her head slowly. "No, Mommy." Gwen felt a strange chill run through her. "Do you want to come in and lie down with me for a while?" Lana shook her head again. "No, Mommy, I'm scared." "Scared of what?" Gwen asked, now fully awake. There was something off about Lana's voice, something that made Gwen's skin prickle. "Because," Lana whispered, taking a step closer, "when I tried to wake you up in my dream, the thing wearing Daddy's face smiled at me." A wave of dread washed over Gwen. Her husband, James, was out of town for a work trip. He wasn't supposed to be back until tomorrow. So who was in the room with them? Gwen stared at her daughter, her heart pounding in her chest. "What do you mean, honey?" Lana didn't answer. She just stood there, her eyes wide and unblinking, looking at something behind Gwen. The hairs on the back of Gwen's neck stood up. She wanted to turn around to see what Lana was looking at, but she was frozen, gripped by a fear she couldn't explain. Her breath caught in her throat, and the room felt like it was closing in on her. "Lana," Gwen whispered, her voice trembling, "who did you see in your dream?" Lana pointed a shaky finger behind her mother, her eyes filling with tears. "The thing that's behind you, Mommy." Gwen felt the blood drain from her face. She didn't want to turn around, but she couldn't help it. Slowly, she twisted her head, her heart hammering against her ribs. The darkness seemed to stretch out forever, the shadows moving and shifting. That's when she saw it. The blanket beside her was moving, slowly rising, as if something underneath was beginning to sit up. Gwen screamed and jumped out of bed, grabbing Lana and running for the door. They didn't stop until they were in the hallway, the bedroom door slamming shut behind them. Gwen held Lana close, her heart racing, her mind spinning. "Mommy," Lana sobbed, burying her face in Gwen's shoulder. "I'm scared. I don't want to go back in there." Gwen didn't either. They spent the rest of the night in the living room, the lights on, the TV playing cartoons at a low volume. Gwen didn't sleep a wink, her eyes glued to the hallway, waiting for something, anything, to come out of that room. The next morning, Gwen cautiously opened the bedroom door. The room was empty, the bed perfectly made, like no one had ever been there. She didn't know what she saw or what she felt, but she hadn't slept in that room since. Gwen didn't know how to explain it, and she didn't know if she even wanted to try. But every night when the clock struck 3:23, she felt a cold breeze brush against her neck, and she knew it was still there, waiting.
I need to get this off my chest. My friends and I made a huge mistake, and to this day I can't shake off the feeling of what happened that night. A few months ago, my friends and I were looking for a thrill, something different to do on a Friday night. We'd heard stories about this old graveyard on the outskirts of town, a place where children who died mysteriously were buried over 100 years ago. Some said their spirits still lingered, restless and angry. Being the idiots we were, we thought it would be fun to check it out. It was a bit of a drive, about half an hour out of town, and the place wasn't marked on any official maps. My buddy Josh had found a blog that detailed how to find the graveyard. Apparently, you had to park your car on a dirt road and hike through the woods for a few minutes. It was me, Josh, his girlfriend Ashley, and 2 other friends, Mike and Sarah. We were all buzzed, riding high on a mix of cheap beer and adrenaline. We found the spot easily enough. I parked my car on the side of the road, and we made our way down the narrow path through the woods. The air was cool, and there was a strange stillness around us, like the forest was holding its breath. No one admitted it, but I could tell we were all a little spooked. We tried to make light of it, cracking jokes and shoving each other around, but there was an underlying tension. When we reached the graveyard, it was nothing more than a small clearing with a few old, weathered gravestones. The ground was uneven, and the trees formed a dense canopy overhead, blocking out most of the moonlight. We stood there for a while, listening to the wind rustling through the leaves. Nothing happened. No ghostly apparitions, no strange noises, just silence. We tried a few things we'd read online, knocking on gravestones, calling out to the spirits, the usual stuff. Still, nothing happened. After about 10 minutes, we started getting bored. Mike, always the loudmouth, started taunting the supposed spirits, daring them to show themselves. The rest of us joined in, laughing and making fun of the whole situation, but then something changed. The wind picked up, a sharp gust that chilled me to the bone. The air grew heavy, and I swear I heard a faint whisper like a child's voice. It was so soft I thought I might have imagined it. The girls got scared, and Ashley said she needed to use the bathroom, so we decided it was time to leave. We made our way back to the car, still laughing but a little unnerved. I was the designated driver, so I was the first to reach the car. I grabbed the handle and tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. I thought I must have locked it without remembering, so I fished out my keys and unlocked it. We all piled in and headed back. The drive home was uneventful, and after dropping everyone off, I finally made my way back to my house. My roommate, Dave, was just getting back from work. He saw me pull in and thought it would be funny to shine his phone's flashlight at my car. He was always messing around like that. But then he stopped dead in his tracks. I got out of the car and he just stood there staring at the windows. "What's up?" I asked, feeling a little uneasy. He didn't answer at first. He just walked over, phone still raised, and pointed at the windows. "Look," he said. I followed his gaze, and that's when I saw them. Tiny handprints, all over the inside of the windows. They were small, like a child's, but perfectly formed. I could see the outlines of fingers, palms, even the smudges where the hands had pressed against the glass. I felt a chill run down my spine. "That's not funny, man," I said, trying to laugh it off, but my voice cracked. I leaned closer and tried to wipe one of the prints away with my sleeve. It didn't budge. The prints were on the inside. I didn't say another word. I just turned and walked straight into the house, my heart pounding in my chest. Dave followed me, still looking confused, but I couldn't explain it to him. I still can't. I went straight to my room, locked the door, and didn't come out until morning. I sold the car a few weeks later. I didn't drive it again after that night, and I haven't spoken about what happened to anyone, not even my friends. But I still think about it sometimes, late at night. I wonder what might have happened if we hadn't left the graveyard when we did. And I wonder who or what was in the car with us on the ride home. Thanks for diving into the shadows with us. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more spine-chilling tales. Stay curious, stay safe, and remember, sometimes the truth is scarier than fiction. Until next time, sleep tight if you can.